welcome to OSG Live, where we inspire you to fall in love with your business. Get set to join your hosts, Tanya, Becky, Kylene, and Aaron for your weekly motivation. It's time to share your wins, express gratitude, and choose positive changes. Jump into the comments and share your thoughts with the rest of the OSG community. Coming up, OSG Wellness Super Tools to nourish your mind and body, small business success gems to uncover hidden gems of business excellence, and the uncommon mindset to challenge the status quo.
Your journey to success and happiness starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I can't believe it's so close to the end of the month already. My name's Tanya Deutscher. I'm with Gracie B. Doodle Designs, and I want to help you choose what you need as often as you need it.
And I'm Kylene Montgomery with Rise, Shine, Smile. Sorry, Becky.
Nope, I was trying to decide if I was supposed to go or not. I'm like, I'm out of order, but I'll work with it. So, good morning, happy Wednesday. I am Becky Kutzer with BK Custom Tees.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group, and we are here to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business. I think I was the one out of order there, Becky, but we got it. Everybody's here, present, accounted for. We've got Chuck checking in this morning. Good morning. And we are doing well, doing very well this morning. We've got Darren. Good morning. Michelle Wilson. Good morning. Checking in as well. And good morning to the Fab Four and Kessa. Good to see you, Kessa. It's been a little while for me since I've seen you. So great to see you. And Kylene, where should we start this thing out at?
All right, we're going to start with our superpower of gratitude. So the reason why we do that, when we're in our state of gratitude, we're in a state of abundance, and we start really paying attention to all the things that we do have in our life to be grateful for. And that just brings more positive energy to us. And then that is what we attract more of in our life. So we're looking for the good. We're appreciating what we do have instead of what we don't. And that brings us all that positive energy. So that's why we want to start our show off with gratitude today. Bring that positive energy. So if you guys are listening, please share what you're grateful for in your life today. I can start here. Today, I am incredibly grateful for our son, Lewis. He is just so independent, and I need to give him more credit sometimes of how independent he is, and I'm just really proud of him. So that's what I'm grateful for today.
That's awesome. I'm grateful for coffee. But I'm also really grateful for my husband, who is very supportive of whatever I have going on in my life. So
That's awesome.
Real quick here, Becky, before you go, Michelle says, I'm thankful that I get to be away for a few days starting this afternoon. So a little vacation, I think. So great job, awesome. Michelle. All right. How about you, Becky?
Well, I am with Tanya that the bean juice this morning is very good. However, coming off of this last week of busyness and getting a printer set up and all the things, I am incredibly grateful for the network of people in my village that it takes to not only run my business, but my household and all the things. So those network of people that are there to support in one way or another, I'm just incredibly grateful for them.
I love it. Love it. That's awesome. Yep. Success is the team sport, right? We talk about that on here quite a bit. So being grateful for those things. And then one other quick thing, Kylene, you mentioned, right, that we're looking for gratitude and that's what we're going to attract. I think the other thing about gratitude that I've noticed is it does put us more in a solution oriented mindset, right? When we're looking for those good things, we're looking for ways to create more of those good things, right? When we're, blaming, complaining, making excuses, that's when we're, just settled into, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I've given away all my power. But when we're in that state of gratitude, right, we are looking for ways that we can get more of that, right? Oh, that feels good. How do I get more of that? So, yeah. So I'm extreme. Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
I just said very true.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
See, you guys let me get up on my soapbox and it all goes to heck here. And then I'm grateful for you guys and the coffee, because it gave me an idea, right? Fueled by coffee and gratitude, right? There's a, I can see that mug coming, right? I see Tanya making a note. Thank you, Tanya. But yeah, Kessa here says, Grace, I'm learning to extend it to myself. Congrats, Kessa. That's really awesome. Yeah,
Very
That's
good.
huge.
I know that's been talked about quite a bit on OSG Live here. I know Kylene and Tanya have talked about it quite a bit in Wellness Super Tools. And I think, we kind of hit on it in the Uncommon Mindset. And I'm sure Becky's talked about that in Small Business Success Gems. So that's such a wonderful thing there, Kessa. So good job by you. I'm just grateful. Yeah, I think I'm going to echo Becky's gratitude. I'm just grateful for the tribe of people around me, the opportunities. I shared out the fundamentals live with some of my friends that are kind of on the the vendor side, so to speak. So if you're at a trade show, right, you've got the people on the one side that are selling the stuff, you got the people on the other side that are buying stuff, and those folks in the vendor side I've been friends with because I traveled those shows kind of like a carny for so many years that you build these relationships with them, and so I shared it with them this last week, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome! Yeah, I'm going to share this here. Do you mind if I share it here?" And I'm like, "Yes, please, yes."
Share, share.
Share. I'm super grateful for all of the people around me, you guys included, that just are want to see what we're doing here, this completely different mindset, this uncommon mindset, come to fruition in our industry. So I'm excited about that very much. And yeah, you guys that are tuned in, please tell us what your gratitude is. Dean, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in this morning. But just anything that you're grateful for. I know we've talked about this before too, but when we hear other people's, right, that reminds us, and our list gets longer too. So love that. All right. Well, you guys, I know you've got a fantastic wellness toolbox coming up. Are you guys ready to dive in and pull out another tool out of the toolbox here?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Hello. Can't believe it's Wednesday again.
I know, we are here, and the topic that we are going to talk about today is something that I needed a good reminder of personally in my life. And it's something that affects all of us. It's embracing change. As we know, change is all around us and we cannot stop it. It just is constantly happening. So we can either learn to cooperate with it and learn from it, embrace it and grow from it, or we can resist it and then get all those negative emotions and things that are associated with that. So we do know that change is a guarantee in life. It's just, it's what happens. And so it's, we can choose how we are going to respond to that change when it does happen. And choose is the key word, I think, today in our segment.
Absolutely. I've been struggling with this quite a bit, and there continues to be all kinds of changes. And so you have to stop and think, what happens when our brains see change? Our brains want to keep us safe. So when something different is happening, it creates a safety concern, an energy drain, and it wants to operate on autopilot. And that is so true. I feel that in the very depths of my soul. But the good news is we can train our brain to adapt to the change and to be able to move forward. We just have to be intentional. There's that word again with what we're doing. So Kylene, what types of changes are there?
Yeah. Changes are truly anything. It can be big and small. It's a new schedule that you may be adapting to. It could be a new job. Maybe it's a new way of doing something, like a new procedure that someone put in place for you. Maybe it's a new person in your environment, in your little world of people that you have. That creates a lot of change, creates a different dynamic. New food. I know for you, Tanya, you're you're experimenting with different foods to see what your body will like and not like. It could be health diagnosis, different season, different times of year. I know for me personally right now, it's starting to feel like spring. So it's another change in my schedule. It's just as simple as, this is my favorite example of change, but like when you go to the grocery store, like I go to the same grocery store all the time on purpose because I know where everything is. So I can go in, and I'm a creature of habit. I have my routine. And if I go to a different one, it's the same grocery store, but they lay it out just a little bit different. I tend to get anxious in there, and I feel lost, and I waste time because I'm going back and forth, and then I get irritated, and those negative emotions happen, right? So it doesn't have to be a huge change. It is something that's simple, and it's how we respond in that moment, because like we said at the beginning, we could choose to resist it, or we could choose to thrive in it and grow from it and just learn to adapt. We can't change how that store, right, laid out their food. We could choose how, if we go to that store with that expectation going into it and just appreciating, okay, this might be a little different, and it's okay. So those are, for me, just some of the changes that came to mind, because there's a lot, and the world's constantly changing. We're changing every day. So we want to talk about, go ahead.
Sorry. Sometimes it's other people's stuff that's changing that gets interjected onto you, and then that creates change. I love the fact that you brought up the grocery store, because our grocery store had this period of time where they kept moving everything, and it wasn't just like small changes. Like they moved the bread clear across to another aisle, and they moved like candy where the bread was. And I would remember being so irritated, and Jay's like, what is going on with you? And I'm like, no, they need to keep everything the same. I want to figure out a whole new layout. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
but
things can really trip you up.
For sure. And so we know that. So I hope we all are understanding how change in our life, it impacts us. And so we want to really, truly embrace it, right? To keep moving forward.
So some ways to adapt and embrace change. You can focus on the benefits of change. And that used to sound so weird to me, but it's like looking at the bigger picture and trying to figure out, okay, what good things can come out of this, because there's usually something, even in a bad situation. Our mind is expanding with new information to allow for learning. We can appreciate the moment and new experiences and express gratitude for that. Gratitude has become such a big portion of my morning that if I don't get it done in the morning, it sets my day up to not be as good until I get it done. Just for those reminders. We're becoming more adaptable, training our brains to accept changes, kind of more go with the flow. I say that quite a bit. I'm like, I'm just going to go with flow, see what happens. It's all going to be good. Where before I would have been like, forcing things, and that's not good. And it could be opportunities to make improvements in our lives, create better habits as a result of that attitude.
Yeah. And I think looking back, on your last year and a half, I mean, think about the new habits, the new lifestyle you've embraced, and that's not an easy thing to do. And it does impact, like you said earlier, other people's change, right? So your change impacted Jay and your household and your employees. All of your world is impacted by that change. And so it's really, truly how we're embracing that in our life and growing from it.
Even the other night, Jay and I went out to eat. We don't do that very often, especially we don't go to Pizza Ranch, because I typically don't do buffets anymore. But I said hi to this couple that we've known for years, and they both kind of just looked at me, and I'm like, okay, fine. And went ahead and sat down. And then once they saw Jay, the light bulb went off. Well, I forgot that they probably hadn't seen me. And so they honestly did not recognize me. And then I'm like, okay, you need to give some other people some grace, because you take it for granted that you're the same person, but you don't look like the same person anymore. So I'm like, it was a good reminder to me to extend grace to others too in those situations, because at first I was like really offended. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm not sure what I did to you, but all right. Just didn't recognize me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that is a great example of how you need to give other people grace, because your world's changed. Their world didn't. And
Right.
regards to your relationship, because they hadn't seen you. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, and we can create such good habits in our life if we really truly learn to adapt and grow from it. And well, it looks like we do have a comment on here from Dean. You need change. Nothing lasts forever. I like that. Yeah, I mean, you think about it, that's your growth, right? That's your power. I think it's just so important to adapt. I mean, you look at where we started with just OSG Live and how we've learned to adapt and change to meet the needs of our group, the audience, everyone. There's just so many different ways that we can continue to thrive. And so one of the ways we can learn to really adapt, like Tanya said, focus on all the benefits of it, right? But then also when that change is happening in your life, think about the emotions that you have attached to it. So we all know when we're in that environment, like for example, the grocery store, that change has happened, or that new person is in your work group now and they have a different energy they're bringing. What kind of emotions are you attaching to it? And learning that pattern of thought, right? And so you have that awareness in your body. Okay, my thoughts are here when this change is happening. And that's those negative feelings. I don't want those. So acknowledge them, embrace them. We're humans. We have feelings. That's what makes us human, right? So don't don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace when those feelings arise, and then choose how long you want to stay in that place. Going with the fundamental number 1, empowering yourself. There's the equation E plus A equals S. So the event that's happening, that's your change, right? And the A is your action. That's your response to that event. And that equals your success. Are you getting the outcomes that you want in your life to lead you to success? So we can't control the change. That's just, as we said, that's just part of life. Nothing, as Dean said, it doesn't last forever in some instances. And so we get to choose our action in that situation. And it's really important that we give ourselves grace there. What if we pick an action that doesn't give us the outcome or to the success that we really want, right? It's okay. We tried something. We can learn from that. And then next time when that feeling arises, that emotion arises to change, we can respond and do a different action and see if that gives us more success in our life. That's the cool thing. That's what we're talking about. We can train ourselves. We can train our brain to adapt to change and really, truly thrive in our life.
Absolutely. Some other things, visual change in your mind. And this is one I use a lot. Tools like meditation and tapping. A lot of times Becky and I will remind each other, okay, maybe we should do a tapping, or can you go do a tapping on this to deal with it? And I would think by now it would just be an instant thing that I would just go do it. But sometimes I need that reminder, and I always feel better once I have done something like that. It just kind of resets me. And that's been amazing.
Yeah, that's a great tool. The other thing is to maintain routines if you can. Any rituals that you've had that you can hang on to just a little bit as you're going through this change and really help you have that success instead of like all or nothing. If you still have some comforting, giving your brain that safe zone, right? As you're bringing in a little bit of change into your life, depending on what your adapting to in your life, hang on to those little rituals that you might have, because that's really going to help give you a little bit more momentum moving forward.
Also, expect bumps along the way. Nothing always goes smoothly, and we can all do hard things. We need to give ourselves grace, like what Kisa said earlier, and be kind to ourselves. It's very important to remember that we are human. We are going to have some negative emotions sometimes. It's just what we do with them that is what matters.
Yeah, I love that. Well said. And then our favorite thing here is to celebrate every day. You know, it may have felt like a really tough day, but you can celebrate that, hey, I responded this way and I did accomplish this. It may not be your end goal, but hey, that's part of the journey. That's what life really is. So celebrate every day those little accomplishments that you've had.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Different things, different situations in your life, if it's business related, our success group, a mastermind, your tribe of people that you've developed, counseling. I'm a huge proponent of counseling and mental health. And then family and friends. Sometimes you just need someone there that can give you some feedback, and even better if they're someone that isn't just going to tell you what you want to hear. Will honestly give you their honest opinion, or say, hey, I think you might need to reach out to your therapist or something that can help you navigate hard situations. And it doesn't need to be a hard situation for you to reach out. Sometimes you just need a little extra helping hand of another opinion, not necessarily to have a gripe session or whatever. That's different, but to be able to reach out to your crew, your people, is very important to have those relationships.
Yeah. And I feel like, like if we go back to just like the business side and life in general, our mastermind group has been huge. It is that safe, you create your own safe places, right? Where you feel you can let your guard down and you can be vulnerable and share, okay, I really am struggling in this area. And just getting that insight from different minds is so huge as you go through a change in your life or growing in general.
Michelle put this quote, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, by Fred DeVito. And that is really awesome.
That's awesome. I like that one.
And then Dean says, little changes can help fine tune. I think Aaron and I are fighting over the buttons.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that, Dean. I like how you worded that. That's good. Yeah. So just remember, we can adapt and embrace change in our life. If we really truly want to thrive and have more joy and have more fulfillment and have more successes, we do have to learn this ability to embrace change, because we can't stop it. It's constantly happening. So I hope that some of these tools that we shared will help you in your life, or maybe just gently remind you. I know it's reminding me as I go through changes too, that we can go through it. And it's just little baby steps as we go through, giving yourself grace and deciding how you want to respond and what actions you do.
Yep. I was really happy when you asked me about this topic, because I'm like, yep, it's pertinent right now. And so, I know that if it's something that we're going through, it's something that others are going to go through as well. So always great reminders.
Yes, most definitely. So we're going to go ahead and share a quick video here of something super cool that's coming up here in June. So we're going to share that, and then we'll bring the Fab Four back and we'll continue this conversation.
Perfect.
Are you a small business that's feeling overwhelmed and underpaid? Do you want to find more balance and fulfillment in your small business?
We're here to share the good news about an upcoming small business retreat where you can come together as a community to facilitate falling in love with your business.
That's right. We're incredibly excited to announce the June 2024 Small Business Workshop and Retreat called Fundamentals Live. This event is based on the book, The Fundamentals of Business Success, and it's going to be your community designed to align your entrepreneurial spirit with meaningful success strategies.
Join us in O'Fallon, Missouri, just west of St. Louis, in discovering networking opportunities that go beyond mere connections. You're going to create relationships that inspire growth and collaboration.
With only 40 seats available, spots are already filling up. Don't miss out on your chance to transform yourself and your business June 7th and 8th in O'Fallon, Missouri.
Awesome. I'm super excited for that. It's definitely going to be a powerful event, as we know the power of community. And when you're in person with people, it just brings that level of connection even greater. And then that promotes even more learning and change, as we're just talking about.
Yeah,
absolutely. Technology is great, but to actually be able to meet and work on things in a more intimate setting and really fine tune into those things that we all need, I think is going to be really special.
Yeah. There's just things that we can't do over technology, right? When we get everybody in a room together, we can actually get rooted together, and there are experiences we can have in those moments that you cannot replicate anywhere else, any other way. And so that's what I'm most excited about, is just the community aspect of it and those experiences, right? You can read the book and get, some of the content, but to be able to have these experiences, I cannot wait for people to have those experiences. And honestly, I can't wait for us to be able to share those experiences, because it's gonna change us as well. So
Most definitely.
really looking forward to that.
And I just love being able to talk to other business owners, the other perspectives and the other, just hearing their side and taking things from other people to be able to use in my own business, and just sharing that back and forth I think is just huge for us all.
Yep. Yep. In fact, Barb says, I'm grateful for collaboration with knowledgeable people. So
I love it, Barb.
Absolutely.
Speaking of those folks checking in, we had Jerry saying good morning earlier, and Barb coming in from North Central Minnesota, and Yosta left Sweden and is in Australia now at just after midnight here. So 12. Well, yeah, they do it differently there, but all right. Hopefully he's just visiting, or let us know what's going on there, Yosta. So love it. All right. Well, so Becky, what were your takeaways on some of the things that Tanya and Kylene had mentioned there?
I did giggle about the grocery store thing too, because that is probably one of the biggest frustrations. Because sometimes, I'm way more of a pickup girl now, so I don't like to go in the store as much as I used to. But when I did, I always tried to have my list by the aisles, because then I'm not back and forth. And I went into the one big box store the one time, and it was just like, seriously, what happened to the bread? It was way on the other side of the store. And then one of the other big box stores constantly moves their stuff. And I asked an employee about it one time, and they're like, I don't know if it was their employee, but the ones that do all the samples and stuff, they're like, they do that on purpose so that you have to wander the store and find other things you need. And I'm like, oh, that's frustrating too. So change is, yes.
They put stuff, at least in our grocery store, in baskets in different places. So something that should always be in the health market, like my protein bars, are in a totally different aisle, and you have to go on a treasure hunt. And I'm like, no, I like to shop local, but I'm sorry, I'm going to go to the Zon.
Zon.
That's but obviously, like Becky mentioned, right, there's some psychology to that, right, that they're looking for ways to increase their business and whatnot. And so we then have to have our strategies for, okay, I get what they're doing, I'm going to shop only from the list, right? I'm not getting anything else that's not on my list. So I didn't put it on the list, I'll get it next time, right, kind of thing. So Yeah, I think that's what gets me is the wandering. I can wander through. I wandered through Office Depot last night. Not good. So, well, okay. I had a couple things that I wrote down too, because there were such golden nuggets, right? Because right when you guys are starting, I wrote down change equals success. Because if you think about it, right, success basically means we want to go from where we are right now, what our current state is, whatever that is, to what we dream, to what we imagine, to what we want to be. And the only way that's going to happen is through change, because where we're at right now came from all of our past actions, thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. And so I guess that led me into this thought of what is it that we can change, right? That's something that I'm like, okay, what can I change? Because the reality is I can't change Costco and make them put the coffee back by the coffee, right? They put the K-cups by the electronics. So for like what Becky said, so you'll go buy a new Keurig. But I can't change that. But again, I can change my action. I can change the fact that, okay, I'm only shopping from my list. And if I can't find it, I'm in and out. Like Tanya said, maybe I'll go somewhere else, right? I can't change their actions. So I can change my actions. I can change my thoughts, and I can change my visual images. And Tanya, you mentioned that in there, right? Just going back to a state of gratitude, meditating, whatever, tapping, those types of things that can change all those things. So those are the things that I can change.
And if you're in that situation and you can't tap or meditate like just then and there, sometimes it's just a matter of going back to our breath, like Kylene always says, taking a deep breath and be like, okay, I'm not going to get upset about this. I'm either going to find it or I'm not. And I'm out.
Yeah. Because you could do this very discreetly wherever you're at. Just take that deep breath in and take it from kind of the abdomen area. And that immediately takes the pressure off and gets us out of the flight or fight stage. And I read the other day, it was on whatever. I learned the other day that inhale and exhale from our abdomen area actually massages our organs down there, including the vagus nerve, which also brings us out of that, right? So again, I can do that anywhere without anybody really noticing, right? I'm a little more intentional with my breath. So if somebody was really looking at me, which guess what? They're not. They're in their own world. So
they're trying to find the coffee too.
Yeah, exactly. We're all freaking out about the coffee. We're going to have just a moment to come together in the corner and say, it's okay. We got this. So no, I think that's really cool. And then I guess that led me to when you start thinking about change, right? If change does equal success, it's not about, okay, I go from where I'm at right now to immediately where I want to be. That's not possible. And it doesn't really work that way. Anyhow, we don't know all of the things, right? We have to take the small gradual steps. And so that starts with the word that you brought up. You guys both brought up several times, just intention, right? I'm intending to change, and therefore I create success. So that was what I wrote down in all of that. So hopefully that helps people a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the anticipation of change and how you can potentially prepare for that. That's kind of a blind spot for me personally, but it is part of learning to embrace change, right? Expecting that there could be some of those hiccups. Like Tanya had said, there's going to be hiccups along the way. There's going potentially this could happen. How could you maybe prepare ahead of time to have like a plan B in place, plan C in place, or things like that. So I'm glad you brought up that side of it.
Yep. All right. And I'm really excited to also hear what the folks tuned in right now live, or if you're somebody on the replay, just use the hashtag replay and put your thoughts. How do you manage change? How do you look at change in your life, right? Are you somebody that is a little more standoffish to it? Kylene had mentioned that's but you go and you look at what her strengths are. Consistency is one of her strengths. So obviously she's going to have to understand that that's a little bit of a blind spot. And so I have to be more intentional about how I manage change. Hi, Cora.
Hi.
Ready super early today for you guys.
Right.
The other thing I had written down, and only because it's midweek mantra this week in the fun February challenge, Michelle's quote would be a perfect midweek mantra. So hopefully she'll add that to our hashtag midweek mantra and share with everybody there. So
yeah,
Love it.
indeed. Yep. We'll get the link for the Facebook group in if you guys have not already joined that Facebook group. But yeah, check that out. That's a really good reminder, Becky. Thank you for that. Okay. Well, we still got Uncommon Mindset. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already, but we've got some more to come here. Are you guys ready for that?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. All right. Well, welcome into the Uncommon Mindset. Michelle, I just saw your comment there. I put a tag in that. I put a pin in that. We'll cover that when we get back done with Uncommon Mindset. How's that sound, Becky?
sounds good.
That'll work. All right, cool. Well, so Uncommon Mindset here. We are into week 7 of the 12 weeks of fundamental workshop details. So the idea here is we're going to have this workshop, this online workshop that will be available. It's a 12-week program. It'll give you all of the fundamentals of business success. And we're kind of diving into each week of it to give you the parts and pieces so you kind of see it, feel it. Plus, we want to give you some nuggets that you can start working from right away here. So we are basically what I would consider over halfway to falling deeper in love with our business here, Becky. And in this week 7, we're in the planning phase, and this week is really all about thinking about our systematic processes. And before we dive into the systematic processes, though, Becky, I'd love it if you wouldn't mind just taking a quick moment to recap the prior 6 weeks, because we kind of took a little break last week, and that way when we dive into the second half here, we're on the right path. We know what came before it. So and maybe a little takeaway from each, if you don't mind. So I'll turn it over to you, Becky.
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
I had to go. You've seen the notes, and he's like, recap of the 6 weeks. And I went, oh boy, I need to recap of the 6 weeks. So there
you go. So
when
two birds with one stone.
When we started this, we worked on our clarifying our reasons. So just really understanding, getting that solid foundation for your business and truly understanding what you want your business to look like. Then we kind of went into a self-trust and goal setting week, and we talked about having that harsh critic inside, ourselves. We're very quick to talk pretty negative in our heads for ourselves, and how to, turn that around. Hey, Cora, can you please be quiet?
Is that your... That's okay.
I don't know if anybody else can hear it, but all I hear is rustling of backpacks and coats.
All good. I couldn't hear it, but that's
good.
Totally fine. You need to, good.
Anyways, and then the goal setting part of that week, why having our goals and setting them is important. And we worked into taking action, and really discussed how this is one of the biggest steps that small businesses really struggle with, actually moving forward, and how that holds those owners back, and trying to get through that step. In week 4, we worked on some time optimization. We learned about the constant, never-ending improvement, how to build those positive habits so that you can use your time wisely and keep working forward there also. And then week 5 and 6 were some pretty big ones. The know your numbers in week 5, just the brief overview of what it takes to know those numbers, what all is entailed in getting to know those numbers so that you can set yourself up for week 6, which was pricing for profit. Once we know those numbers, then setting up that pricing makes it a little bit easier. Once you know how to have all those numbers, and then be confident and plan for the future with that pricing. So,
yeah, because pricing for profit really does come from the confidence that we have in our numbers. So you're dead on that. Those 2 weeks are kind of they're so big that we had to dedicate 2 weeks to those things, and so crucial for business success, which then equals a business that you're in love with. So what a wonderful recap. You got all the points there, and so that's the flow, right? From that flow, now we kick into, let's understand the flow of our business, right? And so we want to look at planning from the systematic processes, right? And honestly, that's what separates somebody, right? this used to kind of be a joke that went around out there that, hey, you know, okay, you've got a business. Are you making any money? No. Okay, well, you have a hobby, right? So what separates somebody that has a hobby, which nothing wrong with that, great. It's great to have a hobby, but if this is something you're trying to make extra money with, make it a living, do it full time, right? We have to switch from that hobby mindset into a business mindset. And that really comes from the processes, right? How can we repeat things over and over again so that we provide value to our ideal customers? And the repeating of things over and over again means we get more efficient, right? So we love the craft and the hobby of it and stuff like that, but we have to be able to repeat that multiple times to do that over and over again, right? When we're doing it as a hobby, we're just making one for ourselves. It's great. We move on. But when I'm doing this as a business, I can't spend that much time doing one, right? I need to do 50 in that same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we think about maybe from a production standpoint, right? Making the thing, but this also, it has to do with, you know, taking the orders, interacting with customers, being more efficient in all of these areas. And so in the fundamentals workshop, we're going to cover 5 key areas during this week. The first one is mapping your workflow, just really kind of getting us a good starting point to find the processes that we need to improve, right? It's going back to what Tanya and Kylene were talking about and change, right? We need to make some changes. And so how do we pick out what changes we should make? So that's the first thing. Then we need to get organized and really just kind of start from a fresh place, or at least kind of be starting from a fresher place. Then we need to actually streamline the processes. We need to look at what changes we can make and start implementing those changes. And then finally, we need to craft our policies. And those policies can be, you know, how we operate internally, right? And maybe it is just us right now, but having those, okay, this is the way I do it every time, right? I've got this jig that I use every time. I do this with the artwork every time to double check that it's right? At the end of creating things, I go through this checklist to make sure that I've done the quality control, and I took a picture of it so I can post it on my social media, right? So those kinds of policies, or the policies with how we interact with our customers, right? So our customer service policies aren't about, you know, telling customers that they're stupid. It really is about why this is a benefit to them. If they do things this way, they will have a better experience. So I'm going to take a quick break for a quick hug from my son. Have a great
Have a good day, Lewis.
All right. Yep. The bus should be coming. So, all right. So that's what the policies are all about. And so just getting those to align with our values and our reason and what our ideal customers need and how to set up a system to focus on continuous improvement is the final part of the workshop. So once you master those areas and you start having more systematic processes, that's what's going to ultimately help you succeed. So that's a lot, right? And we can't cover that in the time that we have here. And I thought, you know, okay, what's going to give us the most bang for our buck if we talk about things? And, you know, you and I kind of talked about this a little bit, but we really felt like kind of getting organized is a great place for us to touch on today. So when we talk about getting organized, that kind of broad statement, what does that mean to you?
I don't know if you heard Cora, but it says keeping clean. And
there you go.
In my perfect world, it means that everything has a place and it magically finds that place and creates that clutter-free space, both physical space and that digital space. I think we need to sometimes not forget both sides of that.
Good point.
You know, but in order to get there, we need to figure out what works for us, you know, in our business, creating that system so that things become effortless. And I have a small story that I'm going to quick intercept in here.
Yeah, please.
That Cora has been listening to us. She loves lists, we have found. So this last weekend, I was super busy out in the shop. And so she was kind of on her own, and she came out and she made a comment. She's like, we really need to clean my room. I'm like, well, we don't need to clean your room. You're going to clean up your room. So I actually had her take my phone and take a picture, and she brought it back. And so we made her fun 5 to start with for her room, for what she could do to start picking it up. And then after each step I'd have her take my phone again, take another picture, and then we walk through that. And just that little bit, I think, helped her room, I mean, it's a vast improvement, and she did it all on her own. And I'm super, super, super proud of her that she was able to accomplish that, on her own. But it just took having those steps and the know, I look at my space right now too, and I have a disaster sitting. What you guys can't see around me is a disaster right now, because I haven't taken the time to get that part cleaned up. And that was kind of what Cora's room was doing too. But if we have the steps of, okay, let's pick up this, let's put this away, let's grab this, just having those few steps to get us started and get past that overwhelm, because I think that's part of where people don't get organized or get stopped at it, because they walk in and they're just completely overwhelmed and don't even know where to start. And I think that's where our systems being in place of, okay, now I know I need to start with this and then do this and then do that. So
yeah, that's perfect. And honestly, you said, magically find their way, right? And but you just explained what the magic was, right? It is that system. It is, those are wonderful habits that Cora's building right now. And then she's got pride and ownership in it too, right? That she was able to accomplish that, without mom doing the work and being over the top of me. And that's so crucial for us too, right? Like as a small business owner, we have to get out of that mindset of waiting to be told what to do.
Right.
But at the same time, when we look at it, it's just so overwhelming. So where do we start? And so I think that's what it is for everybody, is you have to find, like you mentioned, what's your fun 5? What are you going to do to make sure that, you have a system that works for you? Because it can't, being organized can mean different things to different people, right? So I'm a left-handed Virgo, and I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but for those of you in the know, that means I am like anal retentive. Everything has to have its place. I'm overdone, right? And so, so organizing to me, Kylene always jokes that before she met me, she thought she was organized, right? But we all have a system. Sometimes my organization also is controlled chaos, depending on what's going on. And so there are seasons, but everything's got a reason. So you have to create a system for you. And I think the most important thing here, Becky, is just everybody saying, let's just be honest with ourselves. All right. We can hide the clutter. We can shove everything in the cabinets and in the corners, for the rest of the world. But when I have this moment, let me just be honest with myself. What's really stopping me? What's holding me back? What is this pile of junk doing for me right now? What is this, having stuff all over my prep tables, for example, right? Okay, great. I understand how that got there. I needed to get to that stuff, but is that really serving me? Right. And so then from that point, when you're honest with yourself, now you can stop and just kind of take stock of reality. Right. And go, okay, where's the best place to start? So like all things in the fundamentals, it's a cycle of gradual movement. Right? With organization, we want to clarify the purpose, right? If you look at kind of the big picture of it, it's like, really, Aaron, you're going to lay your big picture on top of organization. But the reality is that's the way it works. Okay, why am I organizing this? Right? What's the purpose of this? What's the current situation, right? What's not working? That's the honesty. Let's make a small improvement, right? So I've got this mountain of stuff that I've got to deal with, right? So maybe that's your email inbox, for example, right? You can't take care of 10,000 unread emails in one sitting. It just, I don't think we have the stamina to do that. We lose the energy. We only have a certain amount of energy each day. So, and then we make that small improvement. We get a little feedback, meaning, okay, is this working a little bit better for me? Do I feel a little bit lighter? Do I feel a little bit better about it? And then we take action again, right? We just keep that cycle going. So I'm going to use that example of an email inbox that might be a little cluttered. The purpose of your email box is for communication. And ultimately, I think for small business owners, it's to find opportunities and new ideas, right? So if your current situation is overwhelmed with multiple pages of, because on Gmail, for example, you get, I think it's 50 on one page, and then you have to go to the next page to see the next of them, right? Something like that. And so if you've got multiple pages that you're getting through, and I'm like Mr. Inbox Zero guy, and I do have those times where I have multiple pages. So I'm just, giving you guys all grace if you're not the inbox zero guy like me or gal. Right?
I am not. I just looked. I'm close to 300 at the moment on just the inbox side.
Okay. All right. But if you've got a system that is manageable for you, that's great. But the reality is we need to kind of go, okay, if I'm honest with myself, if that's not working for me, okay, what am I going to do? Again, you're not going to sit down and try to rifle through 300 emails right now. Right? Like, oh, Aaron, I'm going to leave Uncommon Mindset. I got to go take care of these 300 emails. Just not going to happen. Right. So what I would suggest doing is saying, okay, 15 minutes, whatever it is, I'm going to use 15 minutes for this example. I'm going to do 15 minutes a day. I'm going to set a timer. I'm just going to only do 15 minutes. And in that time, I'm going to just focus on my inbox. I'm going to unsubscribe from stuff that isn't serving me, that you don't open on a regular basis. I'm going to move stuff that I don't really need to have in my inbox. And then I'm going to make a task out of the things that I do need to respond to if I can't respond to it right then and there. Here's the trick. Don't get stuck in the trap that I sometimes fall into of I go set my 15 minutes and then I spent, I spent 14 of it on one email because I'm replying to it and trying to do all the things. Right. If I can't do that in an instant, then make a task out of it and move it on for later. So then you're going to get feedback from that, right? Maybe after a while you start to feel a little bit better. You're going to start noticing that there's more opportunities in your inbox than you thought. There's more good information in there than you thought. And then you can go from there. And if you make that commitment to just 15 minutes a day, you can continue. I mean, you could tackle 10,000 unread emails in the course of probably a couple weeks. If you really were focused in for 15 minutes on actually managing the emails, not just replying to them. I've never gotten that far, so I don't know exactly how long, but I would be shocked if it took you more than a couple of weeks at 15 minutes a day. So that's one way to get organized. Becky, what's your thoughts on all that?
No, I totally agree that, those 15 minutes may not seem like much, but they definitely will. There's such a small step that it will really move you forward when you start using it that way. And really, if you don't have 15 minutes, start with 5.
Yeah.
If you're just even looking at the inbox with that many emails and stuff, if it's that overwhelming, then just start with 5 and go from there. So let's bring Tanya and Kylene back in and see what they have to add for us. Oh, and Jerry's got a comment.
Let's get Jerry's comment real quick and then we'll bring him back in. I've added a lot of new inventory and could not take being unorganized so much. Adding an inventory system and working at cleaning things up has made a huge difference, right? So there we go. Back to intention, Becky. It's so crucial for us, right? All right. Well, let's bring Tanya and Kylene back and we'll get their take on all this. So there we go. Tanya, Kylene, what's your thoughts, Tanya? I'll start with you.
Well, going with the everything has its place. I know that I've been working diligently on getting different areas of my shop decluttered, reorganized, destashing some things. And I know for my mental health, it's made a tremendous difference. I now feel like I'm lighter. I can move forward and hopefully I can get some of the destash things out of my space because then that became an issue. So that is one area that I've really been trying to focus in on, and I'm trying to take it to my house as well.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Nice. Kylene, what about you?
Well, there was a lot there. That was really good. So the thing about organization for me, when it comes to my environment and my tasks, it does bring that sense of calm for me. And then that allows me then to show up. I've had to adapt to some changes because my way of doing things was to create a pile. So it's in my vision. But bringing Aaron in, like he said, I always thought I was organized until I met him. He has his systems in place, and that's why he's able to do what he can do. And for me, I'm still adapting to my virtual list to have that place, have that system that's working for me. I think I am on track with a good system now. But man, that was a struggle for me because I wanted my piles. I wanted those visuals, but what that was doing was creating that chaos in front of me and creating those negative emotions. So obviously it wasn't working for me, but that was my habit. And so I like the 15 minutes a day, just really intentionally, okay, what needs to go on to this big list and how can I get organized in my digital environment as well as my physical environment. I thought that was 15 minutes a day. And like Becky said, even if it's just 5 to get started, it's still a step closer to getting to where I would like to go or where anyone needs to go.
Yep. Love it. Love it.
The few minutes, because Cora, back to Cora's little room cleaning, she also on her watch was timing herself, and she gave herself 30 minutes. And after
That's
the
awesome.
one, she came back and she had only used 7 of it, so it doesn't take as long. Now she did go back and have to redo part of that one because we hurried a little bit, but the vast improvement in such a short amount of time is what you're looking for. I mean, it's that instant feedback of, wow, it didn't take as long as I thought, because the more you think about it and the more you think about it, the more it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger in your head. And then that overwhelm just totally cripples you. And I've been there. I mean, I look at different places that I've just gotten, Tanya has been here a couple of times where it's like, I don't even know where to start. And she just kind of jumps in with me too. But the other thing is it does, helping have somebody else in your space where they can see it from a whole different viewpoint. The last time she was here, was that last year when you were here for hockey, or last fall when you were here? We changed my entire island area and made it long instead of wide. And that has been huge in my production side. One little change that I couldn't see. So
yeah, that's huge.
Yep. So Michelle shared, it does really help mentally to be organized. I use the structured app for my morning routine and time blocking throughout the day. So yeah, that's another really good point, Michelle. Organized mentally too, right? What's in front of us. I love that. That's really good. Really good. Okay. I know we're kind of running up against it a little bit and we've still got to close up, but I did promise Michelle we'd come back to her comment, because this is also, again, what I love about this is Tanya and Kylene put together their program, kind of separate from Becky and I, and my gosh, how they work together. Unbelievable. That was not planned, but boy, it seems to work that way every time. So Michelle said, it's hard to get my family to go along or accept my changes. So, Tanya, I know you've been through a big transformation. Kylene, Becky, I've got some thoughts on that too, but Tanya, why don't you start us off with some thoughts on that?
Sometimes you just need to change for yourself, and people will either come along beside you or they won't, and they'll adapt. And that sounds really harsh, but it does work. And sometimes we can't control others. And I'm going through that right now with my son and his dad. Some things have occurred in the last couple of days, and I'm really having to be cognizant of, I need to put my needs first. And for some people, and I'm one of them, that was really hard for a long time. But if I don't put myself first and I start to fail, I become unhealthy again, then all this work I put into myself in the last year and a half is for nothing. And I'm not willing to do that. So sometimes you have to take a hard stand and do what's right for you, and they'll either come along or they'll adapt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like that.
True. Kylene?
Yeah. So to go along with what Tanya said, and the other part of that is communicating. Why is this important for you in this change? Why is this change important? And sharing that with your family and your friends or whoever is resisting the change that you're trying to implement. Express to them why this is meaningful and what the long-term outcome is. And if they're still resisting, do the change and let them experience it. See that transformation happen for the positive for you. And then eventually they'll get there in their own time, hopefully.
Yep. Agreed. Becky, what any other thoughts there?
No, those two hit that on the head for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all.
Yep. Okay. And yeah, I totally agree. And I think ultimately it just comes back to, again, what are the things that we can control, right? What are the things that we have control over? And again, that's our actions, our thoughts, and our mental images, right? The piece, the emotions that we create inside of our heads. And so from that space, right, you have to let go of everything else, right? And like Tanya said, it might feel a little harsh at first, but the reality is you have to, it's your responsibility, right? That's your job. That's your purpose in the world, is to manage those things. Outside of that, all you can do is hope to inspire, hope to, so it's kind of a lead by example, right? Maybe they're not ready for change. Maybe they've got their own lens or mental blocks that they're going through. I know I've been working for years with my dad on just kind of understanding how to get out of that blaming, complaining, excuse making. And at first I was really frustrated and I just wanted to shake him. And now it's like, I get it, right? That's where you're at. I'm just going to continue to be me and lead by the example that I can set, and hope that works out. So I think you guys definitely nailed that on the head. So, all right, I know we've gone a little bit long here, but Tanya, can you put us on ice here and get us to the close here?
Absolutely. ICE stands for Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage, and it really helps me on a daily basis. And with that mindset is choose. And I believe we can choose what we need as often as we need it. And some days I'm choosing things literally every 5 minutes. Today, I'm choosing one thing at a time. There's some things that are outside of my control, but still need some of my attention, and it could either derail me, or I can keep going forward and choosing to at least accomplish one thing at a time without getting sucked into things that I don't necessarily have that control over. So the choose boards are a really great visual tool. I just made Cora one. I cannot wait to get it for her. Hers has a rainbow dinosaur on it.
Hand delivered.
And I love the fact that she's using the tools that she's hearing us talk about. And it's just a testament that we're never too young and we're never too old to utilize tools that are going to move us forward. So if Aaron can throw the link up for the choose boards, they're a great tool. There's other visual reminders there. And I want to know what everyone else is going to choose today or for the week.
Love it. Okay. Today I am going to choose peace, and not let everything else disrupt my internal thoughts and where I'm at. So that's what I'm choosing today.
Awesome.
Love that.
Love it. Love it. Becky, what about you?
Be more blocking the sun. I love to see the sun, but it's really hitting me in the face right now. So mine, Cora has on here that mom is choosing celebrate, and Cora has focus and happy. My celebrate is just that last week and a half has just been a lot for me. Been a lot of hours out here in the shop. And so I just need to stop and celebrate how far we came in that last week, and where that's going to get me in the future here. So I'm going to take that time today as I work on a few other things to celebrate that part.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Mine is community. I am obviously just extremely grateful for this group. I'm extremely grateful for people starting to interact over in the Facebook group, and I get to head out to the DAX show in Kansas City. I'm riding a train, so I'm kind of excited about that.
I'm not done that, and I want to do that.
All right. So speaking of the Facebook group, Becky mentioned it earlier. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the comments here, and also that Choose store there. If you want to get your own choose board, just head over there and grab that from that link. And then here is the link for the group there. So Facebook groups, OSG Fundamentals. So check that out. Join that group if you have not already. And Michelle, looking forward to your midweek mantra. You've got it in the quote here already. So share that over in the group. All right. Well, Kylene, how do we close out here?
Well, I just want to thank you all for being here today and joining us. This has been a fun show. We're excited to hear your feedback. We are open to adjusting however is needed to best serve you and share the knowledge that we have with you, and we can all learn together. So just reach out to us if you have any feedback or anything you want to learn more about. Please reach out to us.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you back here next week. Bye, everybody.
Have a great week.
Bye.